You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
If you prefer real mornings, shouldn't you have a real breakfast? At McDonald's, we get real about breakfast. That's why you can have a savory sausage biscuit with delicious hash browns for only $1.50. It's time to wake up breakfast. Single item at regular price. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Not to be a backseat driver, but can you say for sure you got the best monthly payment possible on your auto loan? Could it be that you might have gotten a better deal by shopping the loan at a few places and have a lower car payment? Next time, before you go car shopping, visit Communication Federal Credit Union first. Our auto loan experts will find you a perfect loan and get you the lowest monthly payment we can. Communication Federal, your auto loan experts. Restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
Ready to stand out, Army ROTC prepares you not only as a college student, but as a strong leader, allowing you to earn the rank of second lieutenant. You will be eligible for full tuition merit-based scholarships and develop leadership skills essential for your future. Start strong and enhance your college experience. Visit your campus Army ROTC representative today. To find out how you can earn up to a full tuition scholarship, visit goarmy.com/podcast to locate your closest ROTC program today. Army officers inspire, strengthen others. Paid for by the United States Army.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis.
And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio.
Looking good, Pop-Up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu and drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the program. This is Juxtaposition, the first Juxtaposition of 2024. We were actually supposed to do this show last week, but I had a dog die on me unexpectedly. So
that sucks. Yeah, I hate that.
Wasn't in the mood, so we're doing it now. But anyway, I'm one half of the crew, Mr. Rick Robinson. He's the other half, Mr. Orty Packard. And something just dawned on me that I wish I would have thought of. If we do this again next year, which I already have a plan in place to do it a little bit differently, but kind of the same thing, I need to find the old drunk cartoon version of the dude singing Old Lang Syne and kind of mix that in towards the end. Just cause.
There you go. No, that's great.
But yeah,
and you know what? I actually think that we should make this a yearly. I mean, we've turned, with the exception of once, the Mandela Effect has been on the anniversary of the show.
Yeah.
When we broadcast it. So, and we've taken on the tradition of doing Juxtober. I think we should actually do this again and recap our three biggest shows of the year.
Well, so this is my idea, and we'll just hash this out now, and you tell me whether you think it's a good idea or not. So what I'm thinking about doing, because we do it's usually 2 shows a month, which would be a total of 6 per quarter. So I'm thinking about doing kind of a toxic kind of thing and putting out a poll every quarter. And that way we get feedback from the readers as to which topics they like, our listeners, as to which topics they like the most too. And then we kind of weigh their vote versus the numbers, and that kind of gives us a more weighted way to figure out which ones we're going to do at the end of the year.
Right. I like that.
Well, it's just, because we've had some episodes that have really, really just blown up, and then we've had some others that everybody's like crickets. So I'm just thinking if we could find ways to get, more feedback, maybe we can continue growing this thing, because it tries to take off every so often, and then life goes sideways and we take like a month and a half off because we're both so busy. And then everybody's like, fuck these guys, we'll go listen to somebody else. So I'm trying to find ways to get
we'll go listen to that fuck George Norrie.
God, please don't say that name ever again. Just kidding.
Well, you know what? There's our motivation.
The only thing
what's funny though is that I have noticed that when we do a show, and this is kind of like what we talked about with on Culture Shift, and even back in the day when we were doing a Cyber War, Cyber Chill, is that when we cover a topic, it's not long after that the entire, a large chunk of the podcast sphere appears to cover the same topics.
So the question is, is KLRN Radio everybody else's show prep, or are we just ahead of the curve on the whole, group consciousness thing?
Either that, we are very in tune, because the prescience of Culture Shift alone. I mean, we're right 99% of the time, which is amazing. If only I could parlay that into lotto tickets.
I know, right?
So
one good lotto win, and we'd never have to worry about anything ever again.
Well, you know what? Mickey and I are trying. We keep talking about it. So,
I mean, dude, if we could hit the right lottery, we could have like studios in multiple states and just do shit from everywhere. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
Yeah, enough wish casting. Hi.
Well, not now. I was last night, which was part of my problem. I was completely unmotivated today. But how are you?
You know what? I'm doing very well. If some of you have seen in the Discord chat, I got myself some new hardware I'm going to be plugging in the next couple of weeks, because I've decided that I'm not going to start producing, and I'm not going to get on the path of my own show unless I actually have a financial investment beyond a pretty decent headset microphone. So I went and got a Focusrite Scarlett Solo, and not cheap, but worth it. And I'm looking forward to hooking it up, and because I'm about to do my every other year format of my computer, and that's what I'm going to install. Really sit down and install all my audio software right, install the hardware to go with it, and just get that set in and bulletproof, and document everything I do along the way, so that way, should something go south, I have all of the screenshots and everything there ready to go. So I figured the only way I could really get myself motivated is to be financially invested.
Well, that's kind of like me. So now that a good bit of my income is freelance work, not all, but a good bit, I've upgraded my computer. When I get my tax return for this next year, I plan on purchasing a Rodecaster unit and actually getting some professional level equipment. So hopefully we can stop randomly sounding good, and other days we sound like trash. Meaning me.
Yeah. Well, it's weird. Which is weird, because it's not even like it used to be back in the day, like when you were loading up for commercial break and you'd open another browser tab. We figured out that's what would cause it. And I think, like when we were doing the Christmas show, we have exceeded what Skype is capable of. And I think we're leaning too heavily on Skype. So that's why Jeff and I have been talking, with you all about Discord, StreamYard, and so forth.
So
because I think
I think honestly, StreamYard might wind up being a better bet in the long run because it's at some point I do want to start offering the ability to do like video segments, even if it's just we have still shots up, but like for the debate shows and stuff, it would be really really nice to have people that are listening be able to actually follow along with us. Instead of everybody watching it in a different place and people are 30 seconds behind, 45 seconds ahead, it's annoying.
Well, I mean, obviously it's going to be case by case for the shows because, it's like we use Discord on Culture Shift and we used it on Cyber Chill, and it worked great. So, I mean, it's just if it's something with your setup, and it's just something we got to look at. And, But for like small format, absolutely. But on Poli-Sci Theater or the Christmas shows, StreamYard would absolutely be better.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm hoping maybe with the Rodecaster that it'll work out more of the kinks because it has more like the built-in relay for sound and stuff, which is part of what why I'm having to daisy chain virtual and real shit together right now, and it occasionally plays really really well, which according to you, it's playing really really nice right now. I don't have chat open on the computer because I have noticed that when I do that, that's when things really go sideways. I haven't opened it on my phone yet either, but I will in a minute. But anyway, so
but this isn't a podcast show. This is a conspiratainment show.
Well, I mean, part of it's the
That is a podcast.
part of it's conspiratainment about whether or not it's issues with our equipment or if it's the government trying to shut us up.
Embrace the power of and.
See, I can always bring something back around the topic. I'm getting pretty good at that. Just ask Aggie, because we've gone really far afield, and I've been able to tie it back together. She's now calling me the champion of 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Nice. So what the show is about, if you haven't picked it up already, we are covering the three most popular stories we did this year. And what I found interesting with the breakdown of them is we've got an old story that's been around, is one of the original conspiratainments. I mean, this goes back to even before Art Bell. I mean, it's one of the oldest ones out there and still hit hard this year. When we did the show on it, it performed really well. The other one was a current topic. We did it the week of the event happening. We had a totally different plan for a different show, and then we wrangled it together, got Jeff in, and then we did the third show. The most popular one was actually a replay from last year that was also the most popular show from last year, too. So
just shows that our crowd really seems to dig the old school conspiracy theory stuff because it's all about aliens, chemtrails, and secret societies. So
you're right. You know what? We should just stick with the classics.
But yeah, so number 3 was in fact the quote-unquote conspiracy theory of chemtrails. I hate to say this, but the fact that everything I find still says that this is a largely debunked thing, even though we now have folks like the creator of Microsoft claiming that he wants to release particles into the atmosphere to help block out sunlight. If he's talking about it out loud, it's already being done. I'm just saying.
Well, and that's what gets me is that geoengineering isn't a new thing. I talk about growing up in California when we would have, when they would need increased snowpack for the runoff, they would seed the clouds. I mean, it's called SPICE, the Stratospheric Particle Injection for Climate Engineering. It's a real thing, and they do it often, and it's actually been posited to use as a method of non-conventional warfare. And the example I gave in the show was that, if you were to do it in Vietnam, if you were to, and they tried to do it in Vietnam where they would seed the clouds where it would rain more, thus bogging down the NVA and VC troop movements that were mired in bad weather. But unfortunately, because weather doesn't just stay in one region, it had the same effect on our troops and the South Vietnamese too. So it kind of, but it's not a conspiracy if it's been done. Now, what the end goal of it is, because everybody has their different theories of what chemtrails are, the two most popular ones that are real are, like I said, the SPICE, the Stratospheric Particle Injection Climate Engineering, and the Stratospheric Sulfate Aerosols, which are also geoengineering. And those are the two things used for seeding clouds and, Bill Gates is saying, to dim the effects of the Earth, the effects of the sun on the Earth.
And is it just me, or is the whole idea of that completely terrifying? Because here's the thing, and this is the thing that I try to make everybody understand. The idea that we're talking about what amounts to, last time I looked at the numbers, I think they were talking about like a 0.06% increase in greenhouse gases. And suddenly now, because of that, they're trying to make all of these drastic changes to our atmosphere. They're trying to change all of these things. Come on, look. Plants need carbon dioxide to produce oxygen. If you get the carbon dioxide level too low, what happens to the plants?
Well, and here's the thing, too, is that we now have 7 billion people on the planet, rapidly approaching 8. And plants it's not just electrolytes. They crave carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
So, we got to feed all these people, right?
Yeah.
Except for the fact we are the carbon they want to reduce.
Well, yeah, there's that. And that's part of the reason why the chemtrail conspiracy theory became such a big deal. The thing about it is, this thing is really far-reaching. We've actually touched on this topic more than once from more than one angle because of all the testing that was done using airplanes, dropping chemicals into cities that nobody knew about. But they're trying to say, this isn't real. We know it is.
Yeah. We talked about, when we did the MK Ultra thing, they dropped sensitive nerve gas over San Francisco and New York, they being the CIA in the MK Ultra tests, to see if they worked.
Well, I don't know if they worked then, but I'm pretty sure most of what's going on in New York and San Francisco is probably going on now because of that.
Seems like a residual effect, doesn't it?
I'm just
It didn't
saying.
affect the presidents then, but it damn sure affected their sperm.
I'm just saying, anything introduced into the human genome does get passed down to future generations. So I'm kind of thinking there was a long-term plan there that nobody knew about. It would explain and I know this isn't something we really talked about beforehand, but it would explain something, because if you've noticed, they've started doing all this research into the testosterone levels between our grandfathers and ourselves, and even our great-grandfathers and ourselves, and they've noticed that around the time that all that stuff started happening, all of a sudden, male testosterone has just slowly been on the decline. Coincidence?
I think ABBA had more to do with that.
Well, probably.
Yeah. Well, okay, so we always talk about, when we talk about the one later, it's absolutely something we need to revisit more often. But along with the chemtrails, two popular topics that we haven't covered is the red rain and the skin fibers. And I know you know what I'm talking about when I mention both of those things, because that's classic conspiratainment.
Well, so the skin fiber one, I'm more aware of. The red rain, not so much.
Yeah, it was a bigger thing in India than anywhere else, where it was just constantly red rain, and it was toxic red rain. But it wasn't like it wasn't like the Union Carbide accident, where you could point to one thing and go, "Oh, there's your problem." It was still pretty, and it happened in other places too. I think it happened in the Midwest as well. I have to look deeper into it, but I remember it being a topic that we have not. But along the vein of chemtrails, it's definitely something we need to expand on.
Well, the interesting thing, because just doing a cursory search real quick on red rain, because I hadn't really even thought about going into it before. Apparently, this has been quite common throughout history. So, interesting.
Yeah.
And of course, the first thing that comes up when
not just like the water spout that picks up a bunch of frogs and then dumps them 400 miles away.
Of course, the first thing that you find when you try to search red rain is the
Peter Gabriel song. We use that during the bumpers when we do the show.
I was actually just thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So, you got anything else on chemtrails?
No, not really. Everybody, especially the people listening to us, basically know what it is and how long it's been around, right. And
Yeah.
And it was our number 3 most popular show for 20.
Yeah, and we do make the distinction, I mean, between contrails and chemtrails, too. I mean, and we made it in the show. It's important we make that distinction, too. Contrails are real. They're a real thing. They happen. Everybody knows that. The thing is that contrails go away after a little bit.
They dissipate.
And
chemtrails do not.
The chemtrails, they'll hang around for a while, even to the point where it's like, you suddenly have the checkerboard over the sky.
Dude,
and your tic-tac-toe board. And they used to be a lot more prolific than I've seen it. I mean, you may be seeing it more, but I don't see it as much out here anymore. They used to be pretty prolific, and that doesn't help dissuade the belief that, because, I mean, it's very intentional.
Yeah. I mean, you may be seeing it less because it probably doesn't show up quite as easily as it used to because you don't have nearly as much smog as you used to.
All right.
Which is why it used to take a lot for us to be able to see them. But I remember freaking out when I was, I would say I was probably 12 or 13 the first time I noticed it because it was when we were living in Seattle. And all of a sudden I looked up and there were planes that had been kind of flying back and forth for the last few minutes. And next thing I know, I look up and there's like a checkerboard in the sky. And I'm like, what the hell?
Now that you mention it, this actually just occurred to me. The reason why I used to see him more, I remember seeing him more, because I was just, when you mentioned it, I was like going, okay, so what was my scenery around me at the time? And it hasn't been since I moved back into the mountains. It was when I was living in San Diego. It was when I was living in Vegas. It was when I was living up in Oregon. It was when I was living near the cities. It wasn't, as I'm thinking this through right now, I'm realizing it's never while I lived rurally.
They're geoengineering population centers, sir.
Sure. I mean, that tracks. What would be the point otherwise? I mean, what do you get a geoengineer over, as Al puts it, the biggest radio desert on the planet?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, they could screw around and create the next Godzilla. You never know.
I'm in a black hole of nothing.
Black hole.
Fantastic
sun.
scenery. Yeah, right. Okay, so number two.
Number two was a current topic. This one, like I said, we ditched our topic of the week, the bye week. We got Jeff in, and it was about the Las Vegas police UFO sighting with aliens in the family's backyard. Yeah, that was like the weirdest thing ever, because I remember playing the audio. Well, for them it was audio. For me it was video. But watching the police officers scramble around and actually hearing the fear in their voice of like, oh my God, did you guys actually see anything? Did you see how fucking big it was?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, it wasn't just like, I mean, one, knowing the area of Vegas they were in, it's not the south side, the southeast, older areas of Vegas, we will put it. This was in the newer areas up around Summerlin and, along the Beltway, that much more affluent neighborhoods.
all right, so just for fun, I actually do still have the audio, so I'm going to see if I can get that to play. Hang on. Well, if it will play, I don't know. Is it muted? I didn't think it was muted. No, it's not muted, so why is it not playing? See if it'll open outside. Weird, it doesn't have any volume controls. Oh, wait, I found them. I still have the original article I pulled it from, and it's being cranky, so hang on a second. Why are you not unmuting? Why do you hate me, sir?
Cranky's the producer of the other show.
Yeah, well, that wasn't the kind of cranky I meant, but I see where you were going with it. Okay, I lied. I can't get the audio to cooperate with me. I'll keep working on it.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, so yeah, this was, I mean, you had the sound of the cops. Okay, first there was a strange light over the city. And having lived out in Vegas, you get pretty used to unconventional air traffic. So for you to, one, you're near the Area 51 Nellis test range. Two, you've got a massive international airport. Three, you're fucking Vegas. You got helicopters coming in and out doing Grand Canyon tours during the day and the night. You got all kinds of, special aircraft flying in because everybody's got their, their kit planes, and they come to show them off at the Vegas airport. You've got blimps flying around. You're very nonplussed by out of the ordinary aircraft. So for something for police officers and residents alike to go, what the fuck is that? It's unusual. And later, police were responding to a call that there were aliens in their backyard, and these same police were talking about how one of their fellow officers had seen the sky thing, and they're freaking out and upset about it. And I mean, as much as cops are, they're obviously still being professional, but they're concerned. And the residents are talking about an 8, 9, 10-foot alien with big eyes walking through their backyard, big mouth, not human, 100% not human. They were very clear about that. When they're telling the story to the police, usually police, I mean, it's like, even when police are like skeptical but being polite, you can kind of get that, they'll try to get their digs in a little bit.
Yeah.
And, they're making jokes in situations, try to get the person making the report to not purposely kind of like change their story or screw it up, but to kind of put them in, it's like, maybe you didn't see what you thought you saw. You didn't actually see Chupacabra eating a dog in your backyard. So kind of like trying to help them, get their brain back into normal mode. And the cops weren't doing that. The cops were right there with them.
Well, I mean, and yeah, so they were right there with them. They weren't playing it off. They were, I mean, except for with each other, they were trying to laugh it off a little bit. Yeah. But when they were interacting with the public, they were just as freaked out as the rest of the public was, which you do not see very often at all. Because normally training will kick in and they just compartmentalize, and especially when they started talking about, did you see how big that fucking thing was? I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, and some of the statements from the police. So one of the officers said, "I'm so nervous right now. I have butterflies, bro. I saw a shooting star, and now these people say there's aliens in their backyard." Another police who was smoking with the homeowners corroborated the story, saying, "I'm not going to BS you guys. One of my partners said they saw something fall out of the sky too." And first responders searched the area, interviewed other witnesses, and I mean it's a live report on LV Metro, so it's still open.
Kind of creepy, ain't it?
It's like one of the officers said, one of the witnesses said to the officers, "Look, I don't believe in it, but I saw right now, and I do believe it." So,
I can't get over the freaked out look on the cops' faces in the video.
I know, they're pretty, they're dialed up to 11.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have. I mean, they're as dialed up to 11 as you could be without their weapons being drawn.
Well, I mean, so the thing about it is, this just proves that, despite their level of training, there are still moments when you can see that they are completely just unprepared, and these people are like, is this shit for real? Because what the hell? And yeah, I mean, you can literally see it on their faces when they're talking. And I'm just like, I was like, I don't know how I would feel if I was the one responding to that call. I just really don't know.
But you know what's interesting about the timing of this, us doing this show, and this being the number 2 story, being one of the biggest stories, we have an event that happened this week, and this just got put on my radar yesterday by Mickey Blowtorch, and same headline basically, with before being
hang on,
aliens and
just tease it a bit because we're at break.
Oh, okay. We're at break?
Yep.
Yeah. We're going to come back with a new story. And relative to this one. And if you know, you know. If you don't, you get prepared to be a little freaked out.
Yeah. So same vein, different location, but just happened again. So it's funny how this always seems to happen. All right. You are listening to Juxtaposition live right here on KLRMradio.com. I'm Rick. He's Ordy. We'll be back with the second half of the first show of 2024 after these commercial messages. Stay tuned.
On. Ground control to Major Tom. 7, 6. Commencing countdown, engines on. 3, 2. Check.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
If you prefer real mornings, shouldn't you have a real breakfast? At McDonald's, we get real about breakfast. That's why you can have a savory sausage biscuit with delicious hash browns for only $1.50. It's time to wake up breakfast. Single item at regular price. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Not to be a backseat driver, but can you say for sure you got the best monthly payment possible on your auto loan? Could it be that you might have gotten a better deal by shopping the loan at a few places and have a lower car payment? Next time, before you go car shopping, visit Communication Federal Credit Union first. Our auto loan experts will find you a perfect loan and get you the lowest monthly payment we can. Communication Federal, your auto loan experts. Restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
Ready to stand out, Army ROTC prepares you not only as a college student, but as a strong leader, allowing you to earn the rank of second lieutenant. You will be eligible for full tuition merit-based scholarships and develop leadership skills essential for your future. Start strong and enhance your college experience. Visit your campus Army ROTC representative today. To find out how you can earn up to a full tuition scholarship, visit goarmy.com/podcast to locate your closest ROTC program today. Army officers inspire, strengthen others. Paid for by the United States Army.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis.
And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, Pop-Up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, I drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you. See you, see you.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Forgot about you guys. I was moderately chair spinning. Not gonna lie. All right, so we're back. We're live.
You were doing what?
I was
chair spinning?
moderately chair spinning.
It grows on you, don't it?
Dude, this is like the third time you've had me listen to this, and this is I keep telling myself I really, with as much as this song has, I need to cut it into multiple bumpers, and I just haven't done it yet.
Yeah, because
there's so many layers to this
it hits
song.
a lot of different notes, for moods. So yeah.
But anyway, so in the land of radio, we do these things called teases. So before the break, you were talking about how, yet again, because we seem to manage to do this, the same week that we were bringing up a topic that was a real time topic when we first talked about it, something very similar has happened somewhere else.
Yeah, in down in America's Wang, as I like to say on Culture Shift. Miami police they were responding to a teen fight at the mall, and it sprawled outside, and they were just, it was on New Year's Day, or New Year's Eve, they were throwing fireworks at each other. There was only like a handful of teens, maybe a dozen. But the response was 22 police officers. And as you're watching the footage, I mean, it's grainy, and it's from, high building surveillance. But the claim is that the police were actually responding because there were 8, 9, 10-foot tall aliens, and everybody was fleeing the scene.
That's interesting. But yeah, so 10-foot alien creatures were apparently caught on camera. And apparently they did the story actually? It looks like they say they fired at them.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what, there's conflicting reports. There's one guy from TikTok who says he was there, and he was talking about an exchange of weaponry between the police and the aliens. The aliens were trying to blend in with the crowd in a chameleon-like fashion, but being 10 foot tall, they couldn't quite pull it off. And the footage that a lot of people are pulling these from is actually helicopter footage. So, but when you look at some of the individual photos, holy shit, the guy talks about certain lockdowns too.
Well, so one of the accounts that they actually pulled for the article from X or Twitter or Zitter or whatever you want to call it these days was Good Lion TV. So this is actually a quote that was pulled from X. 10-foot alien creatures caught on camera, fired at inside and outside Miami Mall. Media is silent. Cops are covering it up, saying kids were fighting with fireworks. Yet all these cop cars, and as you said, there, I mean, they you might want to just drop the link to the story in the chat so the folks can see it too. Because there's what I like to call sex lights everywhere. Because when those things pop on behind you, you're fucked. Anyway, but so
that's I had a friend that called them sex bubbles too. Seriously, there are cops everywhere. You're doing from Good Lion because I was looking at Wayne Tech, but Good Lion is the original source. So
so it goes on and says that basically, during all this time that the cops and the media are trying to blame kids with fireworks, they stopped all air traffic other than a lone media chopper and several black helicopters.
Mm-hmm. It's the black helicopters that jumps up because that's another topic we haven't spoken on.
This is true. There was another one I thought of today, and now I've forgotten it. I wish I would have jotted it down earlier because something came up. And I was like, we need to talk about that. We could do
one on black helicopters and UN MRAPs being everywhere.
Well, I'm kind of afraid if we do one on black helicopters, it might be our last show.
We say that about so many things. But yeah, so, I mean, that one in the video, the first cut, he slows it down around the 15 seconds in. And that's a very large form moving. And people have tried to put it off, and no, that's 3 officers walking side by side. But that's not...
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
That's not how that would look. That's not how any of that would look.
All right. So, anyway, it's in the chat. Watch the video when you're not listening to us. And just the timing for it when we were... and for it to be the same description of the aliens as from the Vegas event as well.
Well, I blame Jeff. He's let his Galactic Federation friends know that Earth isn't so bad after all. It's his fault.
Yeah, exactly.
It's his fault.
The word got out. We're mostly harmless. Yeah. Blue helicopters. No, for blue helicopters, we got to do Blue Thunder. Or that one. Was that one from, God, what was that show? Jesus Christ, I know it.
Talking about
Future Man?
Future Man? I don't remember that one, having a helicopter, but I don't know. Yeah. I barely remember that show, to be honest.
I vaguely remember it, too. And the only reason why I remember the helicopters is because it looked like the helicopters from Battlezone.
The one I remember that I thought was weird was Automan, and that's only because it had...
Okay, maybe that's an Automan, yeah.
Yeah, it had Lucy and Tessie's kid in it, and I'm like, he doesn't look like either one of his parents. It's kind of weird. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So the biggest topic of 2022 and 2023, and this one, I was listening to it today. There was like 5 things we pulled out of it we could do other shows on. And I know that you were working on some larger big picture conspiracy, including this one.
Well, we actually did keep that part of it going. Like, we made it all the way up to, I believe, where we kind of stopped was Kennedy.
Yeah, and that's when we got into Juxtober. So, and then everything. Juxtober. Juxtober did what it's prone to do.
Fucking witches.
Fucking witches. So, the biggest story, the one most listened to, what'd you say, 700 polls?
Counting 2022 and 2023, both the original episode and the repeat were listened to a total of 752 times.
That's respectable. That's almost what Jeff gets in India on a random show. So, Knights of the Golden Circle. And for those of you who don't remember what it was, that was the power brokers, the ones who had the thumbs on the scale, pushing for
Civil War.
The Civil War and the secession of the South. They were anti-abolitionists, and they wanted. The reason why it was called the Golden Circle was they wanted to move the center of their country to Havana and have it include all of the southern states, Mexico, Brazil, Northern South America, that's a weird thing to say. Northern South America. Southern North America. Anyway.
The northern section of South America.
Basically a 500-mile circle ranging from Havana, including all the Caribbean, Dominican Republic, Haiti, the islands, and the country's northern border would have coincided with the Mason-Dixon line, and it would have included Washington, D.C., St. Louis, Mexico City, and Panama City.
Yep.
So, this is, they were quite prolific and quite powerful.
Well, and something that we touched on in a later episode was the fact that it turns out that Booth may have been loosely affiliated with said circle. The guy who shot.
Jesse James as well. And it was a rumor that Jesse James, a lot of his robberies were to help fund the KGC.
Mm-hmm. Pretty weird when you think about it. But so the interesting thing about all this is, because everybody puts it to slavery and everything else, and that was actually a large part of it. But it wasn't just that, though. So this group had been advocating for things to happen for decades, even before the Civil War. So they wanted Cuba to be annexed. They lost out on that. They wanted all of Mexico to be annexed, which, personally, at this point, I kind of agree with them. They're all coming here anyway. We might as well just annex it and just say, fuck it, stay there, we'll fix you. But that's neither here nor there. But then the whole, the North started making noise about ending slavery. And again, no matter what anybody thinks, slavery was already pretty much on the way out anyway because the Industrial Revolution had started. So either way, that was going to be gone soon. But they used that as a way to basically get a large group of people, because up until then it was just this inner circle that were trying to push all these things and make it happen. So they figured out a way to, stay with me here, gin up the population and divided half the country and said, we want to be free and we don't want to have anything to do with the North anymore, and this is what we're going to do. Sound familiar at all? Just saying.
Yeah. And we talked about in the show too, is that there was actually 2 secret societies.
Yep.
There was one in the North. Well, there was a few, but the 2 prominent ones involved in the Civil War. There was one in the North and the KGC. And basically, this was a proxy war of ideals.
Mm-hmm.
And who would be controlling the production. Because it was already kind of known that once the Industrial Revolution hit, that America was going to become a global powerhouse. And at the time, we were still kind of, they're there. They've been around for about 80 years. This is still the kids on the block. But with our innovation and determination, this was the forefront to become a world player, and both of them wanted control of that economic powerhouse, which eventually ruled the 20th century.
Sorry, I was trying to get a monitor check in real quick while you were talking. It actually does sound fairly clean, but there's still some garble. I wish I knew what was causing that. It's annoying.
Sky. I don't know.
I don't know, because the other night you guys were echoing and chopping really bad. I honestly think Spreaker's starting to be a bitch.
I mean, the other night too, that had to do with Cranky's got a new computer and we haven't figured all the bugs. We haven't gotten everything done. I know, familiar, right?
Well, no, I'm just still wondering, because the one thing that I will say is part of the reason why I've kept this package that I've kept for so long on Spreaker is because it was the only one that offered unlimited storage. They all do now. So I'm honestly thinking about downgrading the package, because with what I'm paying for the one package now, if I downgrade to the middle package on Spreaker, I could move the live broadcast to a different platform, which I think would help with clarity. But
365 or something.
If I do it, when I try, they have like a 7-day free trial, so I'm going to basically get everything caught up 1 month to the point where I can just take a week and do nothing but focus on that and see what it sounds like before I pull the trigger on it. But that's kind of where I'm leaning. Not only that, but that gets us away from the licensing for music for the live broadcast altogether, because it's all built in. So
correct.
But anyway, because
So along with that, they were also running piracy operations off the coast of California. They were making inroads into the Southwest, because at the time the Southwest really didn't have a horse in the race. Everything west of Texas was territories, wasn't America proper. California had just gotten in, Arizona, and it was just, So, I mean, there was this ideological fight, like the Civil War, was going on all across the country. But in these guys, they were propping up other secret societies all along the place too. So it was kind of interesting. And we really got to revisit a lot of this.
Yeah, I actually need to go. I hadn't actually gotten a chance to listen to that one yet. I need to go back through and listen to see all the offshoots that we both thought of, so I can figure out where we want to go with it next. Because I don't remember them all now, because it's been a while.
You didn't take your member berries.
Yeah, I'm old now. My member berries don't work the way they used to. Dude, I used to remember almost everything. Just don't ever.
You're a year behind me. Shut up. I still remember everything.
Only a year. I thought I was younger than you by more than.
Well, maybe 2. I don't know.
Anyway. You're still the oldest one. You're still the oldest one on this call, so I'm going to take it.
All right. Ooh, you know what? I just found a new thing that we need to look into too.
What did you find?
Something this might be a good thing for little-known things of World War II. There was a group called the Iron Front that was a German anti-Nazi paramilitary organization whose logo was designed to be painted over swastikas.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. We'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
This just popped up on a sidebar for a different website I was using for my member berries on the KGC.
Well, that's definitely something you don't...
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to look into that.
So there was a German Nazi resistance group.
Yeah, there was a German anti-Nazi paramilitary organization called the Iron Front.
Yeah, I just got a chance to look at that picture. That looks like Otto Man. The blue shirt.
Yeah, that's not Otto Man. The more I thought it was a Future Man, but then I look and I said, no, that's Otto Man.
Mike, we are old. You're just ancient.
We are old. I still go meet the boys for coffee down at the donut shop.
Mike, we are old. The difference is you're ancient. We're not there yet.
It's not the years, it's the mileage.
Yeah, dude, if it was mileage, I should already be dead. I mean, shit.
Okay. So, those are the 3 biggest stories of 2023.
And honestly, if you, I don't know if, well, you can't see it, But chemtrails was actually one that was from 2022 too, which I thought was weird.
Yeah, it was late 2022, I think.
Yeah.
What was the? Yeah, I'd have to look at the.
So
the Discord,
the Golden Circle one originally aired in September of 2022, and then we had to take time off in November again, so it re-aired again as a replay in November of 2022. And for some reason, it blew up in the replay originally. The original didn't really take off, but the replay did. And then for some reason, that episode completely blew up in June of 2023 again. Like, out of nowhere. It was just like, all of a sudden, there were like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of plays on it, spaced out for like 2 or 3 weeks. And I'm like, that's just weird.
Well, what's funny is that was the original air date of the Vegas invasion, too, because 6/10/23 was when is the time tag on the Vegas invasion, so that would be the same month that it would be going nuts as well.
Yeah, it did go nuts as well. It didn't go as nuts as that one, but I think what happened is some people kind of got lured in by one or the other and then started listening to stuff. But I will say, I did look, and I know you came in I think it was about a month after I actually came up with the idea, because there was one show that started as an off-the-rails kind of thing. Because I was completely burned out on politics, and Al was bored and called in, and we just started shooting the shit about craziness. And then 2 weeks later, Jux was born. And honestly, Jux originally, my idea for Jux wasn't just this. It was going to kind of be a catch-all for the shows that didn't really fit any of the other categories. And this has just been so much fun that I'm just like, fuck it, let's just do it this way.
Well, so as I came in episode 3. Because I really wanted to do the Mandela Effect. Because you had done the first one, which was right after Tucker Carlson did a UFO special on his show. And your premise was, when did UFOs become mainstream, and why didn't we get the memo? Which is funny, is because now you flash forward, we've been doing this, 4 years now?
5.
5 years?
5.
Okay, so we're in our 5th year of this. And now it's like, if you thought UFOs were mainstream then, again, we just gave 2 news reports where everyone's like, "Oh yeah, no, totally." The amount of articles, especially about the Miami one, who are reporting it as it was reported on Twitter, versus the mainstream who are going, "Police say LOL, there were no aliens in Miami." There's more of the former than the latter.
Well, I mean, so, and here's something else that, if we haven't done a full show on it, we should by now. Because I don't think we have yet, but we probably should. The truth of it is, the mainstream media is now the propagandist arm for whoever's in charge.
Sure.
And that really should be something that we kind of get into at some point. I don't remember the exact topic, but I remember what made me think of it. So I was watching a show because remember I said I was completely unmotivated today. I turned on a show on Paramount Plus and then watched the whole thing because I was like, I really need to start working and I really don't want to, so let's just watch another episode. Next thing I know, all 10 episodes were watched and nothing was done.
And then I got high.
Well, actually, that was last night. I actually had a really good work day yesterday, so I was like, yeah, I'll take an edible before bed, maybe finally get to sleep. First of all, didn't get to sleep. I don't know, dude, no matter what I do anymore, I can't sleep. I was finally asleep by about 4. Woke up at like 10:30, was still really, really tired. Started making coffee, so I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll just turn on some TV for a minute while I finish waking up. And so I started watching a show called The Lioness. I don't know if, and I don't want to give too much of it away, but one of the things that I found the most interesting was the entire premise of the show is this group of CIA operatives is going after what in this show is their ace of spades, kind of like what Bush did during 9/11. And when the Secretary of State in the White House finds out they're going after the dude, they were like, we don't think this is a good idea right now. Keep in mind, this show was made while Biden was president, and I think that's what, and I wish I could remember the idea that it gave me, but maybe if I talk it through, I will. But the interesting thing is they never actually said who the president was, but they kept mentioning that they didn't feel that if this person was taken out, that the current president would be able to navigate the wake. If that's not Hollywood's way of saying Biden ain't up to the job, I don't really know what is.
Right.
But yeah, so, and the whole point of it is, like, the CIA group is trying to take out this really, really bad guy, and the guy that's in charge of the operation, when everything goes how they expected it to go, gets called into the White House, and he just looks at the Secretary of State, their president's out of the country. He's looking at the Secretary of State, who's just basically bawling him out from across a conference table, and he's like, well, if you didn't want us to fucking take him out, why was he the number one guy on the list?
Right.
And they just look at each other. And I'm like, but the thing about it is so typical of where we are right now that it didn't even feel fictional, because it's like one hand doesn't know what the other one is doing, and one hand is doing what it thinks the other hand wants it to do, and then suddenly, all of a sudden, the one hand is pissed off that the other one is following directives given to it by that other hand.
Right. You told us.
You put him on the list, and you made him number one on the list. It took us 22 years to find him. Why are you bitching at me for doing my job? Well, because we don't think the current administration can navigate the wake properly. We don't know what's going to happen. Then you should have pulled him off the fucking list. And he turns and walks out the door.
What show is this? The Linus?
Yeah, the Linus on Paramount Plus. I honestly kind of thought it was gonna, because
what I have anymore. I think I have Paramount Plus because I had Showtime. I think that's how that's worked out.
No, it's usually the other way anymore. If you
because they, yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I think on Amazon, if you had one, they now combined them.
Yeah, so if you have Paramount Plus and you pay for their ad-free package, you get Showtime as a bonus.
Right, but I had Showtime, so now I think I have Paramount Plus ad-free.
Well, I mean...
Because, yeah, I mean...
Easiest way to find out is to open up the app, and if it lets you in, then you know you've got it.
That's what I'm going to have to... I'm just going to have to try and watch some Deep Space Nine tonight before I go to bed, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I have... Because Walmart Plus has a free Paramount Plus subscription built into it, and my phone carrier gave me, like, free Max for life. But I've been paying for the ad-free versions of both, and I'm like, but if I change over to the free Paramount Plus, I lose Showtime. I don't know how I feel about that. But I'm like, but then I'm saving. If I change out of both, I'm saving like $560 a year. Because I'm paying $350. I'm paying $20 a month for each one of them. So I'm paying $40 a month for two different services right now that I can technically.
Remember when
get
streaming services used to be $6?
I know, right? Dude, I literally talked to my kids the other day. I was like, look, you guys are either going to continue to pay for Netflix out of the money that you get, or I'm pulling it, because that shit's like $25 a month now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I remember when Netflix was like $6. And
well, okay. I mean, since they went streaming, it was $6 when you got the 3 discs. I mean, let's be fair.
Well, no. So hang on. So it was $6 to get 3 discs, but then when it first started, they threw the streaming service in for free, and then when they realized they were losing money, you then got the option to get $6 and get 3 discs, or $6 and get the streaming service, or $12 for both. And I did $6 for the streaming service because I got
and
really.
They did $12 if you wanted to do the streaming service on more than one device.
Yeah. And then it was
fuck you if you had anybody living in your house.
And then it was, well, we don't really care if you share your passwords. Now it's, you want to give somebody outside of your IP network your password? Pay an extra $10 a month and we'll let you do that. No.
Which I'm wondering how that's going to work, because I'm finally getting the finalization of my network put together. With my streaming devices, it won't make a difference.
No, it won't.
No, I'm just saying, because my streaming devices are on one network and my computers are on another network. Internal IP, but external. Never mind. It won't matter.
Yeah,
they're all going out the same IP.
Yeah, I was going to say it won't matter.
I just answered my own question because I'm like, okay, I've completely just overcomplicated my internal IPs. But fuck if I'm going to try and be bulletproof.
But yeah, so
one thing about chemtrails, and this is kind of like, for those of you who think that Edward Snowden is a government mole, this will, comport with you. For those of you who don't, this will become disappointing. But on the other hand, how honest is he being? Because he said he was asked about chemtrails actually, and he says much time as I spent because he admits that he was spending a lot of time looking through CIA and NSA computers for references to aliens and UFOs and chemtrails and stuff like that, and he said he found none of that.
Yeah, I don't know how much I believe
But
that.
but that's the thing is, I mean, the CIA has, never really been involved in the UFO thing. That's always been a DoD thing.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's why they keep all this stuff as compartmentalized as they do, because each group has their own little special area. I mean, the CIA is all about finding ways to fund black projects. It's pretty much their main gig, whether anybody wants to admit it or not.
Hook on drugs, whatever the drug may be.
Well, I mean, I still honestly think part of that is because they were trying to figure out a way to make the population docile. And it hasn't worked as intended. If anything, it's made it kind of worse in some ways. So I have a question, because I just noticed this. Has anybody clicked on the thing at the bottom of the website that says, "Welcome to the public domain, Mickey," and it's like 7 minutes and 22 seconds long? Because I've been meaning to click on that, and I haven't yet. Should we click it now?
You know what? Play it over the air. See what it is. I think it's Jeff trying something.
It shows the volume's up, but I'm not hearing anything. Oh, wait, there. Oh, that's what he's saying. He's getting away with playing a Mickey Mouse cartoon because it's now public domain. I thought he was saying something about Blowtorch. I was like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, I figured it out because when it said public domain. So.
But yeah, I can't believe they let that expire.
They had to. It's
well,
in fact. Okay, so not only did they let it, they did 25 years ago, what was called the Mickey Mouse Protection Act is what has been named, but copyrights before going into the public domain, it used to be the life of the creator plus 50 years, I think. Anyway, the way that it broke down was like in the 90s, early 2000s, the copyright was going to wear out on it, and Disney lobbied Congress to tack it another 25 years or another 20 years on it. So what was originally 50 and 75 is now 70 and 95. So and we have just hit the 95 year, and they tried to do it again, and Congress said no.
Well, so here's the very interesting thing about this, and this is why I'm starting to think a lot of this stuff is coordinated somehow. So the very
You're coordinated somehow.
Well, so the very next 2 or 3 days after Mickey became public domain, there was a group of looters that showed up in a store with a bunch of Mickey Mouse masks.
Of course they did.
That just seems a little weird.
It's topical.
Just seems a little weird. But yeah, that's something else has just gotten out of control. I mean, there was a story I just heard the other day about this flash mob of like hundreds of looters that just showed up at a bakery, and some dude drove a new Kia through the bakery to get in, and they just ransacked the place. They took everything, the register, the damn lottery tickets, everything. Anything that wasn't bolted down was gone. It was just weird. I'm starting to think the mind control stuff might be working more than we think.
I'm starting to think we got to start shooting looters again. Rooftop Koreans showed us the way. We have rejected our past.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong. The one thing I will say is I am actually starting to see...
Do not just shoot people randomly, but, looters...
Well, so the whole thing is part of it's because for the longest time, cops were just like, fuck it, I'm going to get in trouble no matter what I do, so I'm just going to sit here. That's why a lot of what the left was able to pump up about J6 became as big as it was, because the cops were like, fuck it, I'm outnumbered, I'm not doing nothing. And then somebody gave
the SCOTUS ruled that the police have no obligation to protect you.
Which kind of goes against the oath they take, which seems weird to me. But anyway.
Well, and that's why. Have you noticed that they've taken to protect and serve off police cars? Now it says policing with pride or some other bullshit like that.
Yeah, it does. I've noticed
Professional
it does.
service agency or some,
Yeah. Wait. I mean, come on. That's the whole reason for my other career path was to observe and report. That's not what cops are supposed to do.
I mean, it's kind of, even going back to when I was a kid. I remember that LAPD. We used to joke about it. So to protect, to serve when we fucking feel like it. Because on all their cars it said to protect and serve. If you watch like Chips or like Dragnet, it says protect and serve on the door.
Yeah, they don't say that anymore.
They do not say that anymore. Policing with pride. Anyway,
I'm just waiting for them to change the pride to rainbow.
Yeah, policing with rainbow.
Well, no, I'm just saying spell out pride in rainbow colors.
That's right. You can't say. I think I think pride is trademarked now. I don't know.
I mean, well, if it's not trademarked, then it's racist if you're not using it right.
They got the University of Hawaii to change their logo.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. So we got political. We don't do that.
Yeah,
we try not to do that.
We didn't really much.
We kind of.
It was
we did. We covered events that have been. Yeah.
But I mean, it's still kind of a weird conspiracy to think about the Supreme Court saying, "Oh, yeah, it's your job, but you don't have to." It's like what?
Yeah.
What?
I think I kind of get where they came from is because it's like a police officer is not required to risk their life for yours. And I think that was the gist of it. But because
yeah, but
people are crap weasels, it's just transferred. I don't have to,
That's not even supposed to be a thing. That's the whole reason you put the badge and the gun on in the first place.
Right, you are. That's why it's a shield, not a
Well, I mean, it depends. Some places call them badges, other places call them shields. It just kind of depends. Shields is more like an East Coast kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. Having done that kind of work, I can't really see not getting into it to basically be willing to take a bullet for people, because that's kind of your job description, whether you want to admit it or not. It's not what you want to have happen.
He's like, you know what, that guy's a crap weasel.
But anyway, I mean, speaking as somebody who has in fact taken a bullet for someone, it's kind of the job description, whether you want it to be or not.
Not intentionally, just kind of.
Well, I mean, that would be like saying that, firefighters don't have to respond to fires.
Yeah.
It's kind of
that's dumb.
But, I mean, not to get political again, but one of the arguments we used to make all the time for all the people who said, well, you don't need guns because you have police. Well, then we don't need firefighters because you can buy a fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
So, I'm just like, but now, if cops aren't going to be required to do their jobs anyway, then kind of seems like a good reason to own a gun.
Yeah.
Just saying. Anyway, don't yell at me. We're 8 minutes past, so we're kind of out of...
God damn, yeah, we're kind of rambling. It's Saturday night.
I was going to say, before you start yelling, technically we're outside of our 60 minutes, so I didn't really violate the rule. Much.
Listen here, you. Yeah.
I resemble that remark, sir.
So. Yeah.
So what's up with you next week, sir?
Let's see. I've got, I'm on with you on Wednesday night, and that's it. We may do, okay, so Brad and I got off schedule because of the holiday.
Yeah.
And this week we were, so I know it screwed you up. So, in theory,
damn it,
to get back
mute button, sir.
I tried so hard. I couldn't get the little mini Skype thing up to hit the mute button, and my main Skype is behind my voice meter. So, sue me. You're going to bed anyway.
I was saying damn it because now I have Linkin Park in my head. I tried so hard.
But anyway, Brad was going to get in touch with Paul to see if if he and I could get back on schedule with doing the part 2, because we ran over so long, or we didn't run over, but it took an entire 90 minutes just to cover the best and worst movies of 2023. We have so much other jam to pack into a show from 2023, because holy shit, what a fiasco that was in the entertainment world. Fucking fantastic. All my chaos buttons just yummy. So
that was, I know it wasn't intentional, but that literally sounded like a donut, Homer donut shiver.
Donut. Ooh, yummy.
Exactly. That literally sounds like Homer Simpson. Which is
sacrilegious.
Another little funny side note, though, real quick. Gracie has a winter cold for the first time in a while. And I noticed today, because she's starting to get that rasp in her voice, because she's always got a really squeaky voice, but now she's got a kind of a deeper squeaky voice. And I was like, good Lord, if she had a British accent, I would be going insane, because she would sound just like Peppa Pig right now, and I don't know how I feel about that. I said that to her mom, and she just died laughing. She's like, I wish I could say that you were wrong, but now that you've mentioned it. And then Gracie laughed, and it literally sounded like when Peppa Pig laughed, and I was like, yeah, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Anyway, so not much for me going on tomorrow. Michael will probably send me files, and I'll probably start working on putting those together. I am gonna be doing show prep for the afternoon show starting on Monday, and then hopefully getting some writing done, since I slacked off on that again today. I gotta stop taking the edibles.
I saw you got one story in the last couple of days.
I got 2.
Okay. Well, I'm slacking because I had to work today. I'm slacking on catching up on Twitchy.
Well, one of them didn't get promoted till super late, because I didn't push it until after Aggie and I were done. So even Aggie didn't find it until like really late today. But I don't know. The funny thing is, because I had been off for a while, because like I was telling Aggie last night, I was like, I had like really hardcore writer's block for like almost 6 weeks. Like anytime I tried to sit in front of the computer, I just couldn't get anything. So I finally felt motivated last Saturday, and then within 20 minutes of me sitting down on my computer, the dogs were playing, the dogs were fighting, and 15 minutes after that, one of the dogs was dead. I'm like, yeah, nope, done.
Yeah, that's right.
And so, yeah, it felt really good to sit down and actually write again yesterday, which is why I thought I would be pretty motivated to do it again today, but I really got to stop trying to take the edibles at bedtime. But the other interesting thing is, I think everybody missed me, because for like 45 minutes, I was number 1 and number 2 story across all of the sites. It was kind of cool.
Well, yeah. It was kind of funny is that, okay, so you can always tell Sam's headlines. With her leads. And now it was kind of funny is that I didn't even see your name, and I knew that just from doing all the shows with you that we do, I could tell that was a Rick. So just by the headlines. So it's kind of funny that, I'm starting to figure out Calvin's too.
Well, I mean, part of it is, when you're first learning to do a gig, they tell you how you want things, and you're kind of trying to stay pretty much in that bucket. So for a little bit, we all kind of sounded the same. Now we're getting more comfortable, so more and more of who we are is coming out when we write.
Sure.
And that's one thing I noticed. I was like, dude, this actually even sounds like me now. It's kind of cool. I actually got to use a Pulp Fiction line in an article. I was happy.
Nice.
It's like, ooh, check out the big brain on Matthew.
Fun.
Anyway. All right. That's again, coming back around Tuesday, doing the usual stuff with He Said, She Said. Wednesday night, Full Boat. Y'all know all this shit by now. Thursday night, Rails, and then Jared and Rick. And then Friday night, helping out with Aggie until Mickey comes off hiatus, which, if dude has time to tweet about his dog getting blowjobs for cheeseburgers, just saying.
It's different.
I know. I'm just teasing. That tweet literally made me laugh out loud. I'm like, you realize you just called your dog a fag, right? Did you realize that? But then again, as in a dog's word, vernacular, it would probably sound a lot like Jeff. For Jeff, it's $20 is $20. Dog's like a cheeseburger.
$20 is $20.
Cheeseburger's a cheeseburger, bro. Don't judge.
Right. Exactly. The
All
point
right.
being. All right. Play us out, Rick.
Yeah, we're getting out of here before Orty yawns in my ear again. We will see you guys in, actually, technically, I guess next week, because that's our actual week.
No,
huh?
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
We're on our actual week. I got to get Culture Shift back on their regular week. We're on our week.
So,
We're right. We're proper.
I'm so confused. My 2024 is already confusing. Wait, you're expecting me to trust the Amish? I don't think so, sir.
Amish know the way. Hail Hydra.